Hidden among the breathtaking mountains of Kazakhstan lies a remarkable lake unlike any other on Earth. Rising directly from its crystal-clear waters is an eerie forest, not along the shoreline, but from the middle of the lake itself. Tall spruce tree trunks stretch upward from the water's surface, like the towering masts of ancient ships lost to time. Their appearance is both haunting and mesmerizing. What makes this scene even more extraordinary is that these trees have been dead for more than 100 years. Despite that, they remain perfectly upright, as if frozen in a moment that never ended. The lake's exceptionally cold and calm waters preserve them, preventing decay and keeping them standing exactly where they once grew. The story began in 1911, when a powerful earthquake dramatically transformed the landscape. Water flooded the valley, submerging the forest beneath its surface. Instead of collapsing and disappearing beneath the water, the trees remained standing in place. More than a century later, they continue to rise from the lake in a remote location that many people around the world have never even heard of. Far away on the frozen continent of Antarctica, another astonishing mystery captures the imagination. From the side of a massive white glacier flows a stream of deep crimson liquid. The striking red waterfall spills down the ice and spreads across the frozen ground below. It creates the unsettling illusion that the glacier itself is bleeding. For decades, scientists struggled to understand the cause of this incredible phenomenon, making it one of the most fascinating natural mysteries on the planet. Meanwhile, high in the mountains of Indonesia, a volcano hides a spectacle that seems impossible to believe. Inside its crater rest 3 separate lakes, each displaying a completely different color. One shines with brilliant turquoise hues, another glows green, while the third appears dark and mysterious. Even more astonishing, the lakes can change colors independently of one another, sometimes within a single night. No one can accurately predict what shades they will display from one day to the next. These extraordinary places are not digital creations. They are not enhanced by special effects or altered through editing software. They exist exactly as they appear, right here on Earth. Their landscapes are so unusual and breathtaking that they seem as though they belong to another world entirely. Today, we are counting down 15 of the most mysterious and unbelievable locations on our planet that look almost too incredible to be real. Be sure to stay with us until the very end, because our final destination features a submerged forest where lifeless trees have remained standing underwater for more than a century, and not a single one has ever been seen falling. Before we begin our journey, tell us in the comments where you are watching from and what time it is in your part of the world. We are excited to discover how many countries this adventure reaches. Nestled among the lush, wooded hills above the enchanting town of Sintra, approximately 30 kilometers west of Lisbon, Portugal, stands one of the most fascinating estates in Europe. At first glance, the property appears as though it belongs in a dark fantasy novel. Elegant towers rise above the landscape. Hidden grottos are tucked among the gardens. Secret pathways weave through the grounds. And carefully designed landscapes create a sense of wonder and confusion for visitors. Yet the estate's most astonishing secret is not found above ground. It lies deep beneath the surface. Hidden underground is a remarkable structure known as the Initiation Well, a tower that descends into the earth rather than reaching toward the sky. Despite its name, it was never intended to collect water. Instead, it was created for symbolic and ceremonial purposes. The well consists of a magnificent spiral staircase that winds approximately 27 meters downward through a cylindrical stone chamber. As visitors descend, they pass through 9 distinct levels, connected by beautifully crafted stone archways. At the very bottom lies a circular floor decorated with an intricate compass rose and a striking Templar cross embedded in polished marble. According to the research of Portuguese architectural historian José Manuel Fernandes, the estate was constructed between 1904 and 1910. The project was commissioned by Antonio Augusto Carvalho Monteiro, a wealthy Portuguese scholar, collector, and Freemason. To bring his vision to life, he hired the renowned Italian architect Luigi Manini. Historical studies suggest that the initiation well was designed as a ceremonial setting, inspired by Masonic traditions, along with influences from Rosicrucian and Templar symbolism. The 9 platforms of the staircase are believed to represent the 9 circles described in Dante's Inferno, as well as the 9 levels of paradise. Every step downward symbolized a spiritual journey, representing death, transformation, and eventual rebirth. According to Fernandes, participants in these rituals were guided down the staircase while blindfolded. After reaching the bottom, they would continue through a concealed passageway hidden beneath the estate. This secret tunnel eventually led them back to the surface through a secluded grotto concealed behind a cascading waterfall, symbolizing a return to the world after spiritual renewal. Beneath Quinta de Regalera stretches an elaborate network of underground passages connecting the well to various locations throughout the property. These hidden routes link the structure to an underground lake, a stone chapel, and several secret exits cleverly disguised among rocks and garden features. According to the foundation responsible for managing the estate today, the complete layout of these subterranean tunnels has never been fully revealed to the public. Imagine a wealthy Freemason creating an underground tower designed to represent a descent into another realm. 9 symbolic levels lead downward, a Templar cross awaits at the bottom, and hidden tunnels guide travelers back through a waterfall. Every detail of the estate was carefully crafted to feel like a passage through death, enlightenment, and rebirth. Today, this extraordinary landmark attracts visitors from around the world. Tourists eagerly capture photographs and selfies inside the very same mysterious well where, more than a century ago, individuals participated in rituals they believed could transform their souls forever. Deep within the McMurdo dry valleys of Antarctica, one of the harshest environments on Earth, hides a phenomenon so unusual that it appears almost impossible. Emerging from the frozen face of Taylor Glacier, a stream of dark red liquid flows across brilliant white ice and spreads onto the frozen ground below. The striking contrast creates the unsettling impression that the glacier itself is wounded and bleeding. For generations, this remarkable sight puzzled explorers and scientists alike. The mysterious red waterfall, known today as Blood Falls, was first documented in 1911 by geologist Griffith Taylor during an expedition into the region. At the time, Taylor proposed that the unusual color was caused by red algae living within the ice. This explanation seemed reasonable and remained widely accepted for many decades. However, the true story turned out to be far more fascinating than anyone had imagined. In 2003, a team of researchers led by geomicrobiologist Jill McCookie from the University of Tennessee conducted an in-depth investigation into the source of the crimson flow. Their findings, later published in the journal Science, revealed that the red liquid was not biological in origin at all. According to their research, the mysterious water is actually ancient seawater that became trapped beneath the glacier nearly 2 million years ago. Long ago, Taylor Valley was a fjord connected directly to the ocean. As global temperatures dropped and the glacier gradually expanded, seawater became sealed beneath thick layers of ice, isolated from the outside world. Over countless millennia, this trapped water remained hidden beneath the glacier, completely cut off from sunlight and atmospheric oxygen. During that immense span of time, the water absorbed large amounts of iron from the surrounding bedrock. Eventually, tiny fractures within the glacier allowed some of this iron-rich brine to escape to the surface. The moment the iron-laden water comes into contact with oxygen in the air, a rapid chemical reaction takes place. The iron oxidizes, producing rust. That rust creates the dramatic blood-red color that stains the ice. In reality, Blood Falls is not a glacier that bleeds. It is a glacier releasing rust-colored water from an ancient hidden reservoir. Yet perhaps the most astonishing discovery was not the source of the color, but what was found living within the trapped brine itself. Researchers discovered thriving microbial communities surviving in conditions that seem completely inhospitable to life. These microscopic organisms have existed in total darkness for roughly 2 million years. They live without sunlight, without oxygen, and without access to traditional food sources. Instead, they sustain themselves by processing iron and sulfur compounds from their environment. The discovery attracted the attention of NASA astrobiologists, who identified blood falls as one of the closest earthly examples of environments that may exist beneath the icy surfaces of distant worlds, such as Europa and Enceladus. Imagine water trapped beneath a glacier since long before human civilization existed. Imagine ancient microbes surviving for millions of years without ever seeing daylight. Imagine a frozen valley where brilliant white ice is suddenly marked by a vivid river of crimson. Antarctica is a continent known for endless shades of white and blue. Blood Falls stands apart as a breathtaking exception, adding an unexpected splash of red to one of the coldest and most mysterious places on Earth. Hidden near the small town of Gryfino in northwestern Poland lies one of the most puzzling natural mysteries in Europe. At first glance, the area appears to be an ordinary pine forest. However, a closer look reveals something truly extraordinary. Scattered within this woodland are approximately 400 pine trees that possess a shape unlike any others in the surrounding landscape. What makes these trees so remarkable is the way they grow. Each trunk rises normally from the ground for about 30 centimeters before suddenly bending toward the north at an angle close to 90 degrees. The trees then extend horizontally for 1 to 3 meters before curving upward once again and continuing their growth toward the sky. The result is a collection of strangely shaped trees that appear almost sculpted by design. Even more mysterious is the consistency of the phenomenon. Every one of the roughly 400 trees bends in the same direction. Each curve begins at nearly the same height above the ground and follows a remarkably similar angle. The uniformity is so precise that it immediately raises an important question. How could so many trees develop such an unusual shape in exactly the same way? The trees belong to the Scots pine species and, based on examinations of their growth rings, were planted around 1930. According to studies conducted by forestry specialists from the Szczecin Regional Directorate of State Forests, the unusual bending likely occurred when the trees were between 7 and 10 years old, sometime around 1940. Adding to the mystery is the fact that the surrounding forest contains countless other trees that grew normally. Only this particular group displays the unusual curvature. No neighboring sections of woodland show similar characteristics, making the phenomenon even harder to explain. Over the decades, numerous theories have emerged in an attempt to solve the mystery. The most commonly accepted explanation suggests that local farmers may have intentionally bent the young saplings using specialized tools, ropes, or weighted devices. According to this theory, the trees were being shaped to produce naturally curved timber that could later be used in furniture making, ship construction, or other woodworking projects requiring unusual wood forms. Supporters of this idea believe that the outbreak of World War II disrupted the project before the trees could be harvested. As a result, the forest was left untouched, and the unusual trees continued growing for decades. Yet there is one major problem with this explanation. No evidence has ever been discovered to support it. Researchers have found no tools, written records, photographs, or first-hand accounts describing such practices in the area. Historian Andrzej Kasperzak of the University of Szczecin notes that the German population living in Grifino before the war was completely displaced afterward. Any knowledge of the trees may have disappeared along with those who originally planted them. When Polish settlers arrived after the conflict, no explanation was passed down to them. Other theories have suggested severe snow pressure, wartime vehicle damage, unusual environmental conditions, or even rare gravitational influences. However, none of these ideas has been conclusively proven. What makes the mystery even more fascinating is that the trees are not damaged or diseased. They are healthy and continue to thrive. They simply developed a shape that modern science has yet to fully explain. Imagine 400 trees, all bending in precisely the same direction and at nearly identical angles, standing in the middle of an otherwise normal forest. The people who planted them vanished long ago, taking their secrets with them. For nearly 95 years, these extraordinary trees have continued to grow, while the answer to their unusual form remains hidden somewhere in the past. The forest still stands today, silently guarding one of Poland's most enduring and captivating mysteries. Along the famous road to Hana, on the lush northeastern coast of Maui, Hawaii, travelers encounter one of nature's most astonishing displays of color. Rising beside the winding roadway are trees so vibrant and unusual that they appear as though an artist carefully painted every inch of their trunks by hand. Their brilliant patterns seem almost unreal, transforming an ordinary forest into a living work of art. At first glance, these remarkable trees look as if they have been decorated with layers of bright paint. Shades of green, blue, purple, orange, red, and maroon blend together across their bark, creating an extraordinary rainbow effect that captures the attention of everyone who passes by. Yet this breathtaking display is not created by paint, dye, or any form of human intervention. It is entirely the work of nature. These stunning trees belong to a species known as Eucalyptus deglupta, commonly referred to as the rainbow eucalyptus. Native to regions of the Philippines, Papua New Guinea, and Indonesia, this species possesses a characteristic unlike any other eucalyptus tree in the world. According to the United States Forest Service, it is the only eucalyptus species naturally found in the Northern Hemisphere, and the only one known for producing its spectacular multicolored bark. The secret behind its dazzling appearance lies within the tree's natural growth process. As the tree matures, its outer bark continuously peels away in thin strips. When this happens, fresh inner bark is revealed beneath the surface. Initially, the newly exposed bark displays a vivid green color. However, as it ages and interacts with the surrounding air, a remarkable transformation begins. Over time, the bark gradually changes through a beautiful sequence of colors. Bright green evolves into shades of blue. Blue slowly shifts into purple. Purple gives way to orange, and orange eventually deepens into rich maroon tones. This progression occurs because tannins within the bark oxidize after exposure to the atmosphere, creating an ever-changing palette of natural colors. What makes these trees even more fascinating is that no two appear identical. The peeling process occurs randomly across different sections of each trunk, meaning every tree develops its own unique pattern. Even a single tree never looks exactly the same from one season to the next. The arrangement of colors constantly changes, making each trunk a living canvas that continually reinvents itself. The rainbow eucalyptus trees lining the Hana Highway were originally planted during the 1920s as part of forestry operations. Historical records from Maui County indicate that they were never intended to become a tourist attraction. They were cultivated as a commercial resource and were expected to be harvested for practical use. Yet those plans never materialized. Decades passed, and the trees remained untouched. Instead of being cut down, They continued growing for nearly a century. Many developed massive trunks, exceeding 1 meter in diameter, becoming towering natural masterpieces that now stop travelers in their tracks. There is something poetic about their story. These trees were planted for industry, not admiration. They were meant to serve a purpose and then disappear. Instead, they were left alone long enough to reveal their extraordinary beauty. Today, they rank among the most photographed natural wonders in Hawaii. Their appeal does not come from human design or careful decoration. It comes from nature expressing itself freely. Through nothing more than peeling bark, time, and the passage of air, these remarkable trees transform themselves into living rainbows, proving that some of Earth's greatest masterpieces create themselves. Deep within the remote highlands of southeastern Venezuela stands one of the most breathtaking natural wonders on Earth. Hidden among the ancient Table Mountains of Canaima National Park, a ribbon of water plunges from the edge of a towering flat-top plateau and descends an astonishing 979 meters toward the jungle below. Known to the world as Angel Falls, it is recognized as the highest uninterrupted waterfall on the planet, standing approximately 16 times taller than Niagara Falls. At first glance, it appears to be an ordinary waterfall, although on a scale almost beyond imagination. Yet something extraordinary happens during its descent. The water does not always reach the ground in the form of a flowing cascade. Instead, much of it transforms into a drifting veil of mist before it ever touches the earth. Scientific observations have shown that as the water plunges from such an immense height, powerful winds and air resistance break the stream into countless tiny droplets. These droplets scatter through the atmosphere, and many evaporate before reaching the base of the mountain. During periods of reduced water flow, particularly in the dry season, large portions of the falling water can vanish into the air entirely before completing the journey. It is a waterfall where the descent remains visible, yet the water itself seems to disappear. The falls gained international fame through an unexpected adventure. They were named after American aviator Jimmy Angel, who flew over the region while searching for valuable mineral deposits. In 1937, Angel attempted to land his aircraft atop the massive mountain known as Oing Tupui. The landing ended in disaster when the plane became stranded on the summit. Angel and his companions were forced to make their way down through rugged wilderness on foot. The difficult journey lasted 11 days before they finally returned to civilization. Remarkably, the aircraft remained on the mountaintop for 33 years before being removed by helicopter and later displayed in a museum. Reaching the waterfall today remains an adventure in itself. There are no roads leading to its base. Travelers must first navigate winding jungle rivers by motorized canoe before continuing on foot through dense rainforest. The journey passes through some of the most untouched landscapes in South America. According to travel accounts, the surrounding wilderness is so remote that many visitors describe the experience as entering another world entirely. Long before the waterfall became known internationally, it was already known and respected by the indigenous Pim people. They call it Karapakupai Mare, a name that carries deep cultural significance and reflects centuries of connection to the land. The falls stand within their ancestral territory, and local Pim guides continue to play an essential role in helping visitors explore the region. Imagine a waterfall so immense that the falling water dissolves into mist before completing its descent. Imagine a pilot searching for fortune who became stranded on top of the mountain and spent 11 days finding a way down. Imagine a landscape where ancient indigenous traditions remain intertwined with one of Earth's greatest natural spectacles. Above it all rises the magnificent flat summit of Oing Tupui, often surrounded by clouds and mist. Far below stretches a vast jungle that remains only partially explored. The water falls endlessly from the mountain's edge. The droplets fade into the air, and the ancient plateau continues to watch over one of the most mysterious and awe-inspiring corners of our planet. Deep within the rugged high desert of central Utah, approximately 320 kilometers south of Salt Lake City, lies one of the most surreal landscapes in North America. Spread across a remote valley is a vast collection of strange rock formations that seem almost too unusual to be natural. Thousands of towering stone figures rise from the desert floor, creating a scene that resembles an ancient city inhabited by silent guardians frozen in time. As visitors wander through the valley, they encounter formations that resemble giant mushrooms, mysterious skulls, and peculiar human-like figures standing together in clusters. Some appear to be gathered in conversation, while others seem to watch silently over the desert. Their bizarre shapes spark the imagination and make the landscape feel more like a fantasy world than a real location on Earth. Most of these remarkable formations stand between 1 and 5 meters tall. Their reddish-brown surfaces glow beneath the desert sun, while their rounded tops balance delicately on narrow stone stems. Although they appear sculpted by an artist, these extraordinary structures are entirely the result of natural geological processes that have been unfolding for millions of years. According to the Utah Geological Survey, these formations are known as hoodoos. They were created through a long process of erosion in which softer layers of sandstone gradually wear away faster than the harder rock above them. The resistant upper layer acts as a protective cap, shielding the stone beneath and leaving behind the distinctive mushroom-shaped pillars that define the valley today. The process responsible for creating these stone figures is unimaginably slow. The Entrada sandstone that forms most of the hoodoos was originally deposited around 170 million years ago during the Jurassic period. Long before humans existed, layers of sand accumulated across ancient landscapes and eventually hardened into rock. Over vast stretches of time, wind, rain, and changing environmental conditions transformed those layers into the extraordinary formations visible today. Despite its remarkable appearance, Goblin Valley remained largely unknown to the outside world for much of its history. That changed in 1949, when a prospector named Arthur Chaffin accidentally discovered the area while searching for valuable mineral deposits. Upon seeing the incredible stone formations for the first time, Chaffin reportedly believed he had stumbled upon the ruins of an ancient civilization hidden within the desert. The valley remained a protected natural wonder for decades, but one incident shocked nature enthusiasts around the world. In 2013, 2 Boy Scout leaders intentionally pushed over a balanced hoodoo and recorded the act on video. The footage was later shared online, drawing widespread criticism. According to Utah State Parks, the destroyed formation had taken approximately 170 million years to form. What nature had spent countless ages creating disappeared in only a few seconds. Authorities charged the individuals with criminal mischief, and one eventually pleaded guilty to a lesser offense. The fallen formation can never be replaced. Imagine a landscape where Earth patiently sculpted thousands of stone figures over hundreds of millions of years. Imagine a valley filled with natural monuments that resemble goblins, guardians, and ancient beings carved from rock. Then imagine one of those irreplaceable creations being destroyed in the briefest moment. Today, Goblin Valley still stands as one of the most extraordinary geological wonders in the American Southwest. The silent stone figures continue to watch over the desert, just as they have for ages. Most of the goblins remain exactly where nature placed them, enduring through time. All except one, whose story serves as a reminder of how fragile even the oldest wonders can be. Hidden among the dramatic mountains of Oahu, Hawaii, there once existed a breathtaking structure that seemed to rise directly into the heavens. Known around the world as the Haiku Stairs, This extraordinary staircase consisted of 3,922 metal steps that climbed a steep mountain ridge from the valley below to a summit standing approximately 850 meters above sea level. For those fortunate enough to reach the top, the reward was a view unlike any other. On clear days, nearly the entire island stretched out below, while clouds drifted beneath the feet of hikers, creating the illusion of standing high above the world itself. The staircase earned the nickname Stairway to Heaven because of its surreal appearance. As it ascended the mountainside, the pathway disappeared into mist and clouds, making it seem as though the steps led somewhere beyond the earth. Its beauty attracted adventurers, photographers, and thrill-seekers from across the globe. The origins of the stairs date back to 1942, during the height of the Second World War. According to the city and county of Honolulu, the United States Navy constructed the staircase to provide access to a military radio transmission station located at the summit of the Kolau mountain range. The facility played an important role in wartime communications, transmitting signals across the Pacific Ocean to submarines operating far from shore. Although the military purpose eventually faded into history, the staircase remained. However, concerns about public safety led authorities to close the Haiku Stairs in 1987. Official access was prohibited, and barriers were installed to prevent visitors from climbing the structure. Yet the closure did little to discourage determined hikers. According to Honolulu police records, hundreds of people illegally entered the area each year. Many began their journeys before sunrise, quietly bypassing fences and restrictions under the cover of darkness. Their goal was to reach the summit in time to witness the first light of day spreading across the Hawaiian landscape. As social media grew in popularity, the staircase became even more famous. Stunning photographs and videos showed hikers standing on narrow metal steps surrounded by clouds and endless mountain scenery. Images shared on platforms such as Instagram attracted millions of views and transformed the Haiku Stairs into one of the most well-known, unauthorized hiking destinations on Earth. Despite its popularity, officials continued to view the structure as a serious risk. According to the Honolulu Board of Water Supply, which owns the land, years of exposure to the elements had taken a heavy toll. Sections of metal were corroding, concrete supports were deteriorating, and rescue operations for injured hikers became increasingly common. In 2024, city authorities approved the permanent removal of the staircase. Over several months, helicopters carefully lifted away the structure, piece by piece, until nothing remained. A staircase built for war, closed for safety, climbed illegally for decades, and photographed countless times, was ultimately dismantled and carried away through the skies it once reached toward. Today, the famous 3,922 steps no longer exist. The photographs remain, preserving memories of an unforgettable landmark. The mountain ridge still towers above the valley, just as it always has. But now, the pathway that once climbed into the clouds has vanished, leaving behind only stories, images, and the enduring silhouette of a mountain that few can safely reach. Deep beneath the dense tropical forests of the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico lies a breathtaking underground world that few people ever get to witness. Hidden below the jungle floor is an immense network of flooded caves stretching for more than 82 kilometers of mapped underwater passageways. This extraordinary system ranks among the longest underwater cave networks on Earth and remains one of the most mysterious natural wonders hidden beneath the surface of the planet. The entrance to this remarkable realm begins with two circular sinkholes located approximately 600 meters apart. To the ancient Maya civilization, these openings were known as the eyes of the earth. Gazing into their crystal-clear waters, it is easy to understand why. The cenotes appear like giant eyes staring upward from the depths of the world below. Once inside the cave system, The scenery becomes almost otherworldly. Beams of sunlight pour through the openings above and descend into the darkness beneath. As the light strikes the exceptionally clear water, it creates glowing blue-white halos that illuminate the underground chambers. The water is so transparent that sunlight can travel great distances without distortion, forming brilliant columns of light that appear solid enough to touch. These radiant shafts seem like natural pillars supporting the ceiling of a hidden underground cathedral. According to survey records compiled by the Quintana Roo Speleological Survey, exploration of this cave system has continued steadily since the 1980s. Over many decades, skilled cave divers have ventured farther into the submerged passages, mapping new sections and revealing more of its vast complexity. Each exploration has expanded humanity's understanding of this hidden landscape beneath the jungle. The cave passages are also connected to the Sac-Actun system, which extends for more than 370 kilometers and is recognized as the longest known underwater cave system in the world. Together, these interconnected networks form an astonishing underground labyrinth that continues to fascinate scientists, explorers, and divers alike. Beyond their geological importance, the caves hold remarkable evidence of ancient human history. According to archaeological studies published by Mexico's National Institute of Anthropology and History, human remains and artifacts more than 12,000 years old have been discovered deep within the system. During the last ice age, sea levels were significantly lower, leaving many of these caves dry and accessible. Ancient people once walked through these chambers as part of their everyday world. As thousands of years passed, rising seas gradually flooded the caves. The water preserved bones and artifacts in conditions that greatly slowed decomposition, allowing traces of ancient lives to survive into the modern era. Despite their beauty, the cenotes are also among the most hazardous diving environments on Earth. According to information compiled by the International Association for Cave Diving, hundreds of divers have lost their lives within the cenote systems of the Yucatan Peninsula. The greatest dangers include becoming disoriented, losing contact with safety guidelines, and stirring fine sediment that can reduce visibility from clear to completely dark in mere seconds. Imagine more than 82 kilometers of submerged tunnels hidden beneath the jungle, entered through two openings that resemble giant eyes gazing toward the sky. Imagine 12,000-year-old human remains resting silently on cave floors where people once walked across dry ground. Imagine brilliant columns of sunlight piercing water so clear they resemble glowing pillars of stone. And somewhere beyond the point where the last explorer turned back, beyond the limits of the known maps, the darkness continues. The cave system stretches onward, holding secrets that may still be waiting to be discovered. On the island of Mindanao in the Philippines, within the municipality of Hinatuan, lies a river so extraordinary that many visitors struggle to believe it is real. Emerging directly from the base of a rocky cliff, this short waterway travels only about 30 meters before reaching the sea. Yet despite its modest length, it has become one of the most fascinating natural wonders in the country. What immediately captures attention is the river's color. The water possesses an astonishing shade of blue, unlike anything most people have ever witnessed. It is not simply the result of depth. It is not a reflection of the sky above. The river itself appears intensely blue. The color is so vivid and saturated that it often looks artificial, as though someone poured enormous quantities of blue dye into a natural channel carved through the landscape. For decades, visitors, scientists, and divers have been captivated by a mystery that remains unsolved. No one has ever definitively identified the true source of the river, and no one has successfully located its bottom. According to research published by the Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology, the river is supplied by an underground water system that has never been completely mapped. Hidden beneath the surface lies a network of submerged passages extending into the darkness beyond the reach of current exploration. Divers have descended to depths exceeding 26 meters. Yet even at those depths, they have been unable to reach the bottom or determine exactly where the water originates. Reports compiled by the Hinatuan municipal government reveal that the underwater passages become increasingly narrow as they descend, splitting into tunnels too confined for conventional diving equipment to pass through safely. Scientists have studied the remarkable color of the river and discovered that it results from a unique combination of factors. The exceptional clarity of the water, its depth, and the bright limestone riverbed all contribute to the phenomenon. The limestone reflects short wavelength blue light while absorbing many other colors. According to studies in optical limnology, the near absence of suspended particles in the water further enhances this effect. Filtered through underground limestone formations for potentially thousands of years, the water achieves a level of color saturation rarely observed in natural freshwater environments. While science offers explanations for the river's appearance, local folklore tells a more magical story. Oral traditions documented by the National Commission for Culture and the Arts describe the river as an enchanted place created by fairies. According to legend, these mystical beings bathed in its waters during the night, leaving behind the brilliant supernatural blue that continues to amaze visitors today. Adding to the mystery are reports from local fishermen who describe unusual schools of fish emerging suddenly from the depths before disappearing back into openings within the rock. These appearances seem unpredictable. Observers have never successfully connected them to tides, seasonal changes, or feeding patterns. Imagine a river with no confirmed source and no known bottom. Imagine water so intensely blue that it resembles a visual illusion rather than a natural phenomenon. Imagine divers descending into the depths only to encounter narrow tunnels vanishing into darkness. Imagine fish appearing from hidden chambers within the stone and then disappearing once again. The river continues its journey into the sea, as it always has. Yet the mystery of where it truly begins remains locked beneath the rock, a secret that nature has chosen not to reveal. Tucked away in the rugged landscapes of northern Iran, approximately 95 kilometers south of the Caspian Sea, lies one of the most extraordinary natural masterpieces on Earth. On a remote hillside in Mazandaran province, nature has spent more than 10,000 years creating a spectacle of color and form that appears almost too beautiful to be real. Here, two mineral-rich springs have been slowly shaping the mountainside, transforming it into a breathtaking series of terraced pools that resemble a staircase carved from light itself. Across the slope, shallow basins filled with mineral-saturated water descend, step by step. Their surfaces shimmer in brilliant shades of orange, red, yellow, cream, and white. From a distance, the terraces appear like flowing bands of color frozen in place, as though a magnificent sunset had spilled across the hillside and solidified into stone. According to the Geological Survey of Iran, the remarkable appearance of these terraces is the result of two distinct mineral springs emerging from the same slope. Although they flow side by side, each spring possesses a different chemical composition. One spring contains a high concentration of iron, producing the rich orange and deep red colors that stain portions of the terraces. The second spring is abundant in calcium carbonate, creating the bright white and creamy deposits that contrast beautifully with the warmer tones. Together, these springs have spent thousands of years depositing minerals across the hillside. Their separate compositions create a stunning natural gradient of colors that could never be produced by a single water source alone. Layer by layer, year after year, century after century, the terraces have continued to grow into one of the most unique geological formations in the region. The Travertine Terraces cover roughly 1 hectare and have been recognized as a national natural monument. Their beauty is matched only by their fragility. According to the Iranian Cultural Heritage Organization, access to the site is carefully controlled and limited to help preserve the delicate mineral formations. The thin crust that forms the terraces can be easily damaged by foot traffic. In some places, scars created by visitors decades ago remain clearly visible today, serving as lasting reminders of how vulnerable the formation truly is. Despite its extraordinary appearance, Badab Assert remains largely unknown outside Iran. Unlike the famous travertine terraces of Pamukkale in Turkey, this hidden wonder has attracted very little international tourism. According to the Mazandaran Provincial Tourism Office, one of the main reasons is its remote location. Reaching the site requires traveling along unpaved roads through the foothills of the Alborz Mountains. There are no nearby hotels, no restaurants, and virtually no tourist infrastructure waiting for visitors. For more than 10,000 years, two springs have quietly painted the same hillside. One creates vibrant shades of orange and red. The other leaves behind brilliant white deposits. They flow side by side, yet maintain their distinct identities. They have never blended into a single stream of color. They have never ceased their work. And at the end of a lonely dirt road, far from crowded tourist routes and bustling cities, this remarkable hillside continues to be painted by nature, just as it has been for thousands of years, largely unseen by the rest of the world. High above the picturesque Lokva Valley in Slovenia stands one of the most remarkable castles ever constructed. Built directly into the entrance of a massive cave and embedded within a towering vertical cliff, approximately 123 meters above the valley floor, this extraordinary stronghold appears less like a human creation and more like a natural extension of the mountain itself. For more than 7 centuries, it has overlooked the landscape below, guarding stories of rebellion, survival, and betrayal. Unlike ordinary medieval fortresses, this castle was designed with a unique advantage. The sheer cliff served as its rear wall, while the vast cave system hidden behind it provided a secret means of escape and resupply. This ingenious design allowed its occupants to endure attacks that would have doomed most other strongholds. Hidden passages extended through the mountain, enabling supplies to reach the castle even when enemies surrounded it from every visible direction. According to the Slovenian National Museum, the castle first appeared in historical records in 1274. Over the centuries, it became associated with one of the most legendary figures in Slovenian history, a 15th century knight named Erasmus of Lueg. Known for his defiance and daring actions, Erasmus used the fortress as a base for raiding supply caravans connected to the powerful Holy Roman Emperor. His actions eventually provoked a military response. Imperial forces surrounded the castle and launched a lengthy siege, expecting that starvation would force its defenders to surrender. Yet the fortress proved far more resilient than they anticipated. Thanks to the hidden cave passages and secret routes through the mountain, supplies continued to reach Erasmus and his followers despite the blockade. According to accounts later recorded in 1689 by the Slovenian chronicler Johann Vicard von Valvassor, the besieging soldiers became increasingly frustrated. To mock his enemies, Erasmus reportedly threw fresh roasted oxen and baskets of ripe cherries from the castle walls. The gesture demonstrated that, while the attackers struggled with shortages, the defenders appeared to possess endless provisions. For more than a year, the castle resisted the siege. In the end, however, the fortress itself was never conquered. Instead, betrayal achieved what military force could not. According to Valvassor's account, one of Erasmus's servants secretly cooperated with the besieging army. The servant signaled the attackers at the precise moment when Erasmus was using the castle's privy, the only location not protected by the surrounding cave system. Seizing the opportunity, the attackers fired a cannonball that struck the vulnerable section of the structure, killing the knight. Although Erasmus met an unexpected end, the castle survived. It was rebuilt, expanded, and preserved through the centuries. Today it serves as a museum that attracts visitors from around the world. Behind the fortress, the cave network stretches for more than 14 kilometers into the mountain and contains chambers that support the largest cave-dwelling bat colony in Slovenia. Imagine a castle built inside a cave, protected by towering cliffs and hidden tunnels. Imagine a rebellious knight who challenged the Holy Roman Emperor and survived a year-long siege by receiving supplies through secret passages. Imagine a fortress so well defended that betrayal became the only way to defeat its owner. Today, the castle still clings to the cliff face. The tunnels remain hidden within the mountain. The cave continues to stretch into darkness. And the seemingly impossible position of the fortress still reveals the strategy behind its construction. It was never meant to be attacked from the front. And that is exactly why it endured. About 200 kilometers north of Perth, within the remarkable landscapes of Nambung National Park in Western Australia, lies a desert, unlike any other on Earth. Stretching across golden sands is a scene so unusual that many first-time visitors mistake it for the ruins of an ancient civilization. Rising from the desert floor are thousands of limestone pillars, standing silently beneath the open sky, as though the remains of a forgotten city had been uncovered after centuries of burial. These striking formations vary dramatically in size and shape. Some stand little more than a meter tall, while others rise to heights exceeding 4 meters. Scattered across the landscape without any obvious pattern, the pillars create an extraordinary visual spectacle. During sunrise and sunset, their elongated shadows stretch across the sand, transforming the desert into a mysterious landscape that seems almost otherworldly. The scene can resemble an alien graveyard, a lost kingdom, or the remains of monumental structures abandoned long ago. Yet despite their appearance, these formations were not created by architects or ancient builders. According to the Geological Survey of Western Australia, the pinnacles originated from natural processes involving marine life, rainfall, vegetation, and erosion over immense spans of time. Millions of shells, coral fragments, and other remains of marine organisms accumulated within coastal sand dunes during the Pleistocene epoch. Over time, acidic rainwater seeped through the dunes, dissolving calcium carbonate contained within the sand. As the dissolved minerals moved through the soil, they gradually hardened around plant roots and within underground cavities, forming dense limestone structures hidden beneath the surface. When the vegetation eventually died, and the surrounding sand slowly eroded away, the hardened limestone remained standing. What had once been buried became exposed, revealing thousands of freestanding stone pillars across the desert. Scientists estimate that the entire process required approximately 25 to 30,000 years to produce the landscape visible today. Geological dating studies indicate that these formations spent most of their existence concealed beneath layers of sand. Only in relatively recent geological history did wind erosion expose them to the open air. Interestingly, Aboriginal communities of the region, including the people of the Ute Nation, who have inhabited these lands for tens of thousands of years, possess no known oral traditions describing the pinnacles. This absence suggests that many of the formations may have emerged from the sand only within the last few thousand years. Even today, the landscape remains in constant motion. According to park rangers at Nambung National Park, shifting sands continuously reshape the desert. Some pinnacles gradually become buried around their bases, while others emerge after years of concealment. Pillars clearly visible a decade ago may now be partially covered, while formations once hidden beneath the dunes can suddenly appear. The desert is never truly still. It continually rewrites its own appearance. Imagine 30,000 years of rainfall dissolving ancient seashells. Imagine minerals hardening around roots deep beneath the earth. Imagine relentless winds stripping away layers of sand until stone towers emerge from the ground. The result resembles a carefully planned city, yet it is nothing of the sort. What appears intentional is actually the product of chemistry, biology, and erosion working together across immense stretches of time. The pinnacles seem designed, but they are the exact opposite of design. They are nature creating patterns from randomness, and the desert continues its work every day, burying, revealing, reshaping, and never truly reaching a final form. Hidden within the vast karst mountains of Chongqing in southwestern China lies a place so enormous that it behaves like a world of its own. Deep beneath the surface, concealed within layers of ancient stone, is a cave of such immense scale that it generates weather systems inside its chambers. Clouds drift through its interior. Mist spreads across the ground. Moisture gathers and falls through the darkness. It is one of the few places on Earth where atmospheric processes occur independently beneath a stone ceiling instead of beneath an open sky. At first glance, the idea sounds impossible. Caves are usually associated with darkness, silence, and still air. Yet Dong challenges those expectations. The cavern is so vast that conditions inside can differ dramatically from the environment beyond its entrances. The humidity remains exceptionally high, and the enormous volume of space allows weather-related phenomena to develop within the underground landscape itself. According to exploration reports published by the China Caves Project, a joint British and Chinese speleological expedition mapped the system between 2013 and 2016. During their investigations, researchers documented a chamber of extraordinary proportions. The main cavern extends for more than 250 meters in length, approximately 200 meters in width, and reaches heights of around 250 meters. Such dimensions make it comparable in scale to some of the largest human-built structures on Earth. The size of the chamber creates a phenomenon known as atmospheric stratification. In simple terms, the air near the ceiling behaves differently from the air closer to the floor. Warm and moisture-laden air enters the cave through lower openings connected to the surrounding jungle. As this air rises through the immense chamber, temperatures gradually decrease. The cooling process causes moisture to condense into visible clouds suspended within the cave. According to expedition photographer Robbie Schoen, who documented the cave for National Geographic, the clouds found inside Dong are virtually indistinguishable from those seen outdoors. The only difference is that these clouds exist within walls of solid rock rather than beneath the open sky. The cave supports more than clouds alone. Reports from the expedition reveal that portions of the floor near the entrances receive enough indirect sunlight to sustain small ecosystems. Ferns, mosses, and other plants thrive in these illuminated sections. A river flows through the lower levels, while waterfalls descend from openings above. The constant spray produced by these waterfalls contributes additional moisture, helping maintain the cloud-forming conditions inside the chamber. For generations, the cave remained largely unknown beyond the local region. Although nearby villagers were aware of its existence, few ventured far into its depths. According to members of the China Caves Project, the first comprehensive exploration of the main chamber did not take place until 2013. Imagine standing inside a cave where clouds drift overhead. Not fog, not simple moisture. Actual clouds form through the same atmospheric physics that creates them in the sky above. Imagine mist moving through a chamber as large as a cathedral, carved by nature. Imagine rain falling from clouds that originated inside the cave itself. In Dong, the ceiling is stone rather than sky, yet everything beneath it feels astonishingly alive. The clouds are real. The mist is real. The rainfall is real. Deep underground, nature has created a weather system enclosed entirely within Rock Island lies one of the most extraordinary natural wonders on Earth. Here, 3 remarkable crater lakes rest side by side within the volcanic peak, separated only by narrow walls of rugged stone. At first glance, they appear like giant pools of paint carefully placed by nature itself. One lake may glow with a brilliant turquoise hue. Another may display shades of green, while the third can appear dark enough to resemble black glass. Yet their most astonishing feature is not their beauty. It is their ability to change color independently, often without warning, and with no easily predictable pattern. For centuries, these lakes have fascinated visitors, researchers, and local communities alike. According to volcanological studies published by the Indonesian Center for Volcanology and Geological Hazard Mitigation, the shifting colors are caused by complex chemical processes taking place beneath the water's surface. Volcanic gases continuously seep upward through the floors of the craters, interacting with dissolved minerals contained within each lake. Although the lakes sit next to one another, each occupies a separate crater with its own unique geological foundation. Because of these differences, every lake develops a distinct chemical composition. Variations in fumarolic activity influence the oxidation levels of dissolved iron, manganese, and sulfur compounds. As these chemical reactions evolve, the appearance of the water transforms, creating dramatic color changes that can occur over surprisingly short periods of time. Monitoring data has revealed that a single lake may shift from a bright turquoise shade to deep chocolate brown, and eventually to near black, within only a few months. Even more remarkable, the three lakes do not change together. One may become darker, while another grows brighter, while the third remains unchanged. Their transformations occur according to separate geological processes unfolding beneath each crater. Yet science is only one part of the story. For the local Leo people who have lived near these mountains for generations, the lakes possess deep spiritual significance. According to ethnographic research compiled by the University of Nusa Cendana, the Leo regard these waters as sacred resting places for human souls. One lake is believed to shelter the spirits of elderly people who lived honorable lives. Another is said to receive the souls of young men and women whose lives ended too soon. The darkest lake is believed to hold the spirits of those who committed wrongdoing during their lifetime. Within local tradition, the changing colors are viewed as reflections of the spiritual condition of the souls residing within the lakes. While geologists point to minerals, gases, and chemical reactions, the people of Flores see messages from the unseen world. 3 lakes on a single volcano. 3 bodies of water with different colors. 3 mysterious systems changing according to their own rhythms. Science offers one explanation. Ancient belief offers another. Both attempt to understand the same enduring mystery. What remains undeniable is that the colors continue to shift, and neither scientists nor village elders can predict with certainty what shades these extraordinary lakes will display tomorrow. Before we uncover number 15, take a moment to check the subscribe button. If it has not turned red yet, make sure to change that. Then leave a comment below and tell us which incredible destination has surprised you the most so far. We read every single comment and love hearing your thoughts. A lake that should never have existed hidden deep within the majestic mountain wilderness of southeastern Kazakhstan lies one of the most haunting landscapes on Earth. Around 130 kilometers east of Almaty, among the rugged peaks of the Kungi Alatau Mountains, a mysterious lake rests in a secluded valley where nature appears frozen between life and death. At an elevation of nearly 2,000 meters above sea level, this remarkable body of water is surrounded by dense spruce forests and towering mountain slopes. The lake itself glows with a striking turquoise color, its icy waters reflecting the sky like polished glass. Yet it is not the water that leaves visitors speechless. Rising directly from the lake's surface are dozens of tall tree trunks, standing perfectly upright. They do not lean. They do not collapse. They do not appear broken by time. Instead, They emerge from the water like the masts of an ancient fleet, trapped beneath the surface, preserved in the exact positions where they once lived. The forest that never fell, the exposed sections of these trees, appear pale and lifeless. Years of sunlight, wind, and harsh mountain weather have stripped away their bark, leaving smooth gray and white trunks reaching toward the sky. Beneath the water, however, an entirely different story exists. Hidden below the surface, branches remain attached to the trees. Needles still cling to many of those branches. The submerged portions remain astonishingly intact, despite spending more than a century underwater. It feels less like a forest and more like a moment trapped in time. The upper sections reveal death. The lower sections preserve life exactly as it once was. Every trunk tells the story of a forest that never had the chance to escape. The catastrophe of 1911. According to research from the Kazakh Institute of Geography, the origin of this extraordinary lake can be traced back to one of the most devastating natural disasters in Central Asian history. In 1911, a massive earthquake struck the region. Known as the Kaban earthquake, the event reached an estimated magnitude of 7 and violently shook the mountains across southeastern Kazakhstan. The tremendous force triggered an enormous landslide within a narrow mountain gorge. Millions of cubic meters of rock and earth crashed into the valley, creating a natural barrier that blocked the flow of mountain streams. Slowly, water began collecting behind this newly formed wall of debris. Days became months. Months became years. The valley gradually transformed into a lake. Unfortunately, a thriving forest already occupied the land destined to disappear beneath the rising waters. The trees remained rooted in place as the lake expanded around them. They died exactly where they stood. Preserved by the cold depths normally, submerged wood eventually decays and collapses. Nature tends to erase evidence of the past. Yet this forest refused to vanish. The lake's water remains extremely cold throughout the year, averaging approximately 6 degrees Celsius. These chilly conditions dramatically slowed decomposition. Studies published by Al-Farabi Kazakh National University reveal that the submerged portions of the trees have experienced remarkably little deterioration despite more than 100 years beneath the surface. The cold temperatures, limited oxygen, and dense underwater environment created natural preservation conditions rarely found anywhere in the world. The result is extraordinary. A drowned forest that still looks as though it entered the water only yesterday. Reaching the hidden valley Lake Kandy stretches roughly 400 meters in length and reaches depths of around 30 meters near its center. Despite its beauty, reaching this remote destination requires effort. Visitors must travel along rugged mountain roads before continuing on foot through forested terrain. The journey itself feels like an expedition into a forgotten corner of the planet. According to regional tourism authorities, the lake receives relatively few visitors because of its isolated location. There are no elaborate visitor centers, no protective railings, no large crowds, no distractions. Only mountains, water, silence, and the strange forest standing motionless beneath the sky. A different world in every season. The appearance of Lake Kandy changes dramatically throughout the year. During winter, the lake freezes beneath thick layers of ice. The trunks continue to rise above the frozen surface, creating a scene that resembles an ancient monument field lost within a white wilderness. Snow blankets the surrounding mountains while the skeletal trees stand frozen against the horizon. In summer, the landscape transforms completely. The brilliant turquoise water contrasts beautifully with the pale gray trunks. Photographers often describe the scenery as dreamlike and almost impossible to believe. Many first-time visitors assume the images have been digitally altered, yet every detail is entirely natural. Nature itself created the illusion. The dam that still holds the earthquake that formed the lake caused widespread destruction throughout the region. Historical records from the Russian Imperial Geological Committee indicate that more than 450 people lost their lives during the disaster. The landslide responsible for creating the natural dam moved several million cubic meters of earth and rock. Remarkably, that barrier continues to hold back the lake more than a century later. Yet geologists warn that the future remains uncertain. The dam was created by nature, not engineering. A powerful future earthquake, or an extended period of intense rainfall, could potentially weaken the structure and release the trapped waters. If that happens, the lake could drain away. The drowned forest that has remained preserved for generations could finally disappear. The mystery is what never happened. What makes this place so fascinating is not the disaster itself. Earthquakes happen, landslides happen, flooded valleys happen. Every step of the lake's creation can be explained through geology and natural processes. The true mystery lies elsewhere. The trees never collapsed. The wood never rotted away. The natural dam never failed. The water never disappeared. For more than 113 years, everything that should have erased this place simply never did, and so the silent forest remains. Standing, waiting, preserved in cold turquoise water within a mountain valley that much of the world still does not know exists. A journey beyond the ordinary. Over the course of this adventure, we explored 15 astonishing locations spread across 14 different countries. We witnessed trees painted in brilliant colors by nature itself. We descended into spiraling towers connected to ancient mysteries. We encountered forests twisted into impossible shapes. We discovered glaciers releasing rust-colored water sealed away for millions of years. We saw waterfalls so immense that their waters vanish before reaching the ground. We followed stairways climbing toward the clouds. We crossed landscapes filled with stone formations resembling forgotten creatures. We explored rivers emerging from deep within mountains, underwater tunnel systems stretching for dozens of kilometers, ancient castles protected by hidden passageways, colorful thermal terraces, volcanic lakes that constantly change color, endless limestone pillars rising from desert sands, underground caverns that create their own clouds, and finally, a drowned forest that has remained standing for more than a century. These places remind us that our planet is far stranger, more beautiful, and more mysterious than we often imagine. Some existed long before humanity arrived. Some may survive long after we are gone. And some could disappear within our own lifetime. Which of these incredible places would you visit before it is gone forever? Share your answer in the comments below. We read every comment and love hearing about the destinations that inspire your sense of adventure. If you enjoyed this journey into the world's most mysterious and unbelievable places, make sure to subscribe to Forbidden Fathoms and turn on notifications so you never miss an expedition. The next adventure will take us somewhere even more extraordinary, somewhere that feels less like reality and more like a forgotten world waiting to be discovered. Until then, keep exploring, keep wondering, and keep searching beyond the horizon. We will see you in the next adventure.